Hi there. Hi there, people. Totally amazing here. Let's just try and get into. There we are. The home of scientific knowledge, discovery, research, truth, and now autopsies since the 1st of January 2K19. We stripped out that what is it? MIELE Hoover. I nearly said MIELE then. That's a MIELE. That's means beautiful, I think, in some kind of African dialect. Can't remember. And they're called Pendo or MIELE. Anyway, never mind about that. On that vice there, you can see that motor that came out of that vacuum cleaner, and it's completely trashed. There's bits of metal all over everything and bits of wire that came out of it a lot. Now just get into this, and over here I've got another motor which I've already torn apart to show you what's inside them. Let's begin. Zoom in a bit. That motor came out of that vacuum cleaner, the one here. That's off camera at the moment, but we'll get to that. That's out of that MIELE thing. Yeah, and I've been trying to undo it with bugger all success, really. Take a socket, and when I turn it, you'll hear it grinding. And not a lot else is happening. It's not undoing, it's making a foul grinding sound. The only thing that is turning is that spindle on the back end. I don't know if you'll be able to see in there. I'll try and turn it again. So in there it's spinning. Demonstrate that by sticking something in that and turning that. You can see the screwdriver kind of move. Maybe if I can sort of position it right. We do this at the moment. Yeah, so it's sort of still turning. And that's going to be a pain because I can't get that faceplate off. For that, I've tried and scratched it up a little bit, but nothing that's irreparable. So let's show you what's inside one of these things. Here's one. I've already taken the liberty to dismantle. Here it is. So when you let's just sort of get it in there. There you go. When you undo that central nut, you remove the turbine plate on that. Those are usually made of some aluminium affair. Then you'll have that vacuum swirl plastic. In the case of the MIELE one, the off centre, that's all as one part. It's moulded on, so there's no way of removing that. There is a seam on there by the looks of it, but it's all glued in. I'm sure we can work around that. But anyway, you'll have two retaining screws that hold that on, and then you can remove that and get rid of it. And then you're left with that. Now, usually these are pressed in on a bearing. I've sort of already forced that off. So you remove that, and then that's essentially what's inside them. Okay. Now over here you've got two brushes. Okay. So when you put an electrical current through here, it'll induce, well, you'll have one north and one south, and it'll induce rotation. So that'll start turning around like so. Let's try and turn it from the back so you can see it. It's a bit better there. So that will start spinning around. Let's try and put something on there so you might be able to see it. Something like that. Zoom in a bit better so you can kind of see it more. Yeah. And that's how they work. So you have two brushes here. We remove them. So, now sprung loaded. So, pull them out because they can be capped. And then that middle piece there usually comes out. This is just a spacer. They usually come out here with a sharp blow with a hammer. And they push out. The bearings are pressed in. Hydraulic pressed in, so you can't really do anything with that. Now in the case of that MIELE one at the back, where is it? Over there. We're turning that. That's making a horrible grinding sound in there. That's because shards of metal and whatnot have managed to get ingressed. And I also managed, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, of all the things I managed to cut my bloody hand on earlier on, is the one of them. Stupid aluminium housing, well, the aluminium vacuum swirler, and that's stupid MIELE. Tried absolutely everything to get that wretched thing off. I tried German screwdrivers in there, the lot. And there it is. Yeah, well, with no success whatsoever. I think it's a sealed unit. That's why, obviously, when it comes to these vacuum cleaners, with these bloody MIELE things or whatever, just generally bin the motor off. This one came out of some other generic kind of cheap deal. I've got another one and all that needs to come apart too. And if I could find a way of getting into the one that's on that vise, if I could open that, possibly some of these brushes might fit. But it's trying to get into the damn thing in the first place. As you can see, I've got it clamped into a fairly sturdy vise there, and I've been trying to go at that with all sorts of stuff, and all it's done is just scratched up the whole front of that. But the good news is that one is about the same sort of size, so it will fit with a little bit of modification work if we can get the damn thing open. Oh dear. Now, on the inside of the MIELE thing, MIELE, this one is also making that grinding sound, as you can hear. That's because, well, they're not meant to make that noise. They're meant to be free spinning. And this is usually what happens with them. Bits and pieces break off, and then they start flapping around, and they shouldn't. So of course, when you're spinning your vacuum up, or any motor for that matter, and it's going to start arcing and sparking on the inside, that's that noise you can hear, grinding on it. Usually when these are all fixed into their housing and properly mounted, you won't hear that scratching sound. At least you shouldn't. Obviously, that one's knackered as well. It suffered the same fate. And yeah, my hand, as you see, I managed to, there it is. I sort of managed to scratch it open a little bit. But so we've got ourselves some brushes that we've salvaged out of various other units along the way, so we can kind of zoom out a bit there and put them away. And the one that came out of another unit, well, that's what happened to it. It had some sort of failure, and somehow that managed to get torn open. No idea how the hell that happened, but something got engrassed into it. That was another one of those cheap vacuum deals. That one, I don't know, that had a plastic hopper or something, and somebody was kind of hoovering up bits of other things, but generally you shouldn't be vacuuming up anything that's made of metal. But anyway, so kind of have a look at this one anyway. If I brush some of this off, yarn it, and then get in there, inside there's windings as well. They're kind of all mucky. Now, when I was turning that on, where is it? That stupid kind of, put it down somewhere now. Ratchet. Never mind, I'll find it in a bit. It's probably around here somewhere. I had it a moment ago. But when I was turning that, I could feel it actually getting quite warm. So there's something definitely stuck in there. What I have got, here it is. It's back where I put it. When I was turning that grinding sound you can hear, that's not very nice. Zoom in. See me turning it. And I put my hand on it. It's getting warm. And what I will do at some point, probably, someone out there making a hell of a noise. I got one of these. That's a temperature sensor. So what I am going to do at some point is I'm going to keep turning that, and I'm going to find out how hot that's getting. Because there's definitely something in there that's broken up, and it's making some sort of friction, and that's definitely not good. It's probably suffered the same fate as this one. Something in there's broken up, as you see with that, it's flapping around. And they generally shouldn't do that. They should be securely mounted, and that is essentially the same sort of noise. Only that one has suffered more of a catastrophic failure because now I can't open the darn thing. So this is out of Dave's unit. Let's undo this anyway. Let's get this off the bench. Oh, there we are. Look, there's just bits falling out of it. If you saw any of that, just shaking it, and there's all sorts of bits coming out of it. All that. It's absolutely filthy. Shards of, yeah, look, there's really bits of copper and God knows what in there. So I think that's had it, unfortunately. Let's try and zoom in and show you that. There's all just sorts of flecks of stuff on my fingers there. Yeah, there's a piece of looks like wire there. And fine strands of it that have broken off. That wasn't part of it. So that's essentially that. And there's the model number on the darn thing. It sounds awful, that. Yeah, that kind of. That's what it was doing when I was running it, making all sorts of horrible noises like that. It should thing. Let's just put that down and try and find the, I don't know if I've got a socket extender here, extender bar somewhere. If not, I won't be able to do that. In fact, I did have one somewhere around here, but I've moved that, I think, now. I was using it on something else earlier too. Ah, there it is. I just dropped it on the damn floor. So we'll just turn that like that. And as you can hear, that's not happy, that. That's squeaking and all. If we turn it slowly, I don't know if you heard it, but let's move it a bit closer. Yeah, bearings might have gone in it and all. That's what it was doing earlier. It's come a bit loose now. We managed to sort of loosen that thing, but it's still not going to come off. It's all seized on the inside of there and all. Yeah, that's the... I'll cut my bloody finger on that again. Sort of sharp edges on there. But yeah, that's essentially what's wrong with the darn thing anyway. That's the sort of noises that we were making earlier, but not as bad as that, because obviously I've loosened it, but it was making all sorts of crunching, grinding sounds and just generally sounding rather worse for wears. So yeah, we are. I am going to dismantle the whole damn thing anyway, and we'll have a look inside it and try and find out what's exactly gone wrong. But at least it's not as bad as that one. So that's obviously off of another one, so we can get rid of that. I'll just stick that down in my recycling pile, because that's not going to be needed now. This is the one that we've got to try and repair. I'm shaking it out, and some bits are coming out of it. Bits of wire and God knows what. Looks like copper in there and all. And bits of brass in there. And the brass, I'm assuming, is going to be off of that, or off of something very similar. Zoom in again so you can kind of see it. Yeah, that's brass there. That's for the motor brushes, as we see. So something in there is really worn down, and now they shouldn't be touching the motor at all. So something's there is either come into contact with the motor, or there's been so much heat getting there that something's arced across and started melting it. I'm assuming that's what I'm going to find on the inside of it. That unit, that's completely... Can be fixed, I reckon. Whether or not it's worth it, I don't know. I spoke to Dave earlier on. He said, well, he's just do whatever with it, really. Because the sad thing is, and this is what I had a whinge about with MIELE about these things, the problem is now he's just going to end up on a scrap pile, and then of course you've got all that plastic there, which is really bad for the environment, which is why I'm sort of keen to try and fix the wretched thing. Otherwise it's just going to be some sort of fidget spinner. It's an oversized version of one of them, isn't it, at the moment? Not really a vacuum cleaner at the minute, it's more like a fidget motor. we will try and do something with that nonetheless. We need to. And I just thought I'd update you guys. I do actually have 4 other videos that were made. Well, 3 or 4 others. I haven't uploaded them. This one's going to be kind of uploaded beforehand. And this is it's going to probably be titled part 1 of a motor autopsy, I would have thought. Stupid thing anyway. Just in case any of you are curious as to what this is, what motor, it's the type MRG 742/84-42/2. And yeah, it's the, there it is there, NR number 083254. Till, or whatever that is 06225230. Yeah, and they want to charge you over 110 quid for one of them. So that's not good. There's the kind of part number on it. If you can't see that, hang on. Let me just put my beer down. Spin the light over so you might be able to see it a bit better now. Maybe. Maybe not. Is it gonna work? There we are. So if you need to order one of them, that's the part number you'd need. That's for the for that MIELE vacuum cleaner. So unfortunately, at the moment, this is going to count against me in terms of a repair statistic. Because there's not really a lot we can do about this at the moment. That's hardly my fault though. That's just down to them, down to the manufacturer. That's also, wow, that's actually got really hot there as well. That's actually got so hot there, that rubber mounting there, it's got so hot, it's melted. There it is. If we just sort of turn it around that. It's still stuck on there, but it got so hot. It's also kind of melted. It's terrible. So I think unfortunately that motor might have spun its last spin. There's not really a lot we can do about that, I don't think. Can try and repair it, but it's a sealed unit as far as I know. So I'm not sure how well we'll get on with that. But it's going to mean probably I'll have to cut that off, that nut maybe, or try and heat it up if it's got some sort of nylon thread compound in there. Maybe. I'll try and heat it up. I have loosened it, sort of. It's sort of a little looser, but not much. It's obviously only turning the whole spindle of that. It's that's making that horrible squeaking grinding noise. Not that, that's just flapping around, that's just doing its own thing, but the actual squeaking, that's coming from back in there. If I turn it, you'll hear it. That's the back end of it. It's coming from in there. So obviously you can imagine at high speed it's going to start arcing and flashing and making all sorts of grinding noises. That kind of fits with what Dave was saying. It's unfortunate because the funny thing is the vacuum cleaner looks really, really tidy inside and all. That's what's annoying about it. But anyway, oh yeah, the front of that. That's how that would be. It sort of looks like a front of a jet engine, doesn't it? Jet turbine. There's an idea for somebody if they want to turn one of these into something like that. It was just the kind of rubber. It's meant to actually protect the motor from flying debris. Some debris has managed to get in there. Of course, that just comes off, just like the other one I showed you. Of course, you're meant to be able to undo that, pull that off. There's two screws that hold that plastic in place, which looks like it's also kind of sealed onto there. I should be able to then, theoretically, get at the rest of it inside. Unfortunately, that's clearly not the case. Something there's